Hi, everybody. Jake from FirmPilot. And in the next 9 minutes and 56 seconds, I want to tell you a story that I think is cool about a firm that tripled its revenue in less than 6 months. But first, a question that everybody in our market, which I'm about to tell you about, always likes to ask. How do you explain it when one small law firm spends a whole bunch of money on ads, SEO, social media, a sexy new website, an expensive marketing agency and vendor, and nothing happens? All the things that they were told are supposed to help them grow as a small professional services business. Or better yet, how do you explain it when another firm, most likely one of their competitors, does the exact same thing? They have access to the same tools and resources. They're both small law firms, whether it's an injury, family law, criminal defense, employment, and that other firm doubles, triples revenue every single year, year over year over year. Well, about 2 to 2.5 years ago, our team at FirmPilot discovered something that profoundly changed the way that we look at legal marketing. It was pretty simple. The firms that win, that grow revenue, the Morgan & Morgans or smaller ones that just crush and dominate markets, they have more data, they have better data, and whether they're doing it on purpose or not, they know how to use that data. But a little background on our team, how did we figure this out? We're a bunch of NLP, natural language processing enthusiasts who were trying to solve a problem for my brother. My brother is one of these lawyers. He does PI in Miami, and he had just, a few years ago, had just fired his 4th marketing agency. He didn't want to touch the stove a 5th time, but he's been told, like 460-something thousand other law firms, that this is how you grow your firm. You hire your local SEO, PPC, social media expert. At the same time, he just fired his 4th agency. I was just successfully transitioning out of another NLP AI company that I'd started and run for 8 years. So he asked us for help. Our first attempt failed miserably. We tried to use ChatGPT, and we learned the hard way. It does not know the law that well, and it writes this high-level fluff content. You get hit by a car, call an injury attorney. You're fighting with your spouse, call a divorce lawyer. ChatGPT written content doesn't get referenced and mentioned by ChatGPT. So we obsessed over this problem. How do we get his firm seen? How do we hold a megaphone up to it in a crowded market like Miami, where if you throw a rock, you're going to hit a billboard with an injury attorney on it? So we started looking at the data, and we saw there were patterns as to who shows up in ads and social media, on Instagram, in SEO, in ChatGPT, in Claude, whenever you query for the best injury attorney, or can I sue Uber if I was hit by an Uber driver, whatever you're querying. And we started to feature engineer what we saw, from the speed of a website to accessibility scores and ADA compliance and markup schema and a whole bunch of different marketing technical jargon. Anyways, we played with everything on his website, from the periods to the commas to the metadata, and it worked. In 6 months, he went from a beautiful website that he paid a lot of money for but was invisible to this day, if you Google Miami Uber accident lawyer, he shows up #1 organically. And his firm just blew up. It's a spot on Google that big firms would pay millions for. So that was our light bulb moment, that there is a better way to do this. But for some reason, so many firms keep just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Just working with an agency, your traditional, archaic SEO, write me some blog content, create some social media posts. Why? Well, they don't have really, really great younger brothers. But this is why we built FirmPilot, so that any small business, a lawyer who feels like marketing is this big, scary world to me, I want to focus on being a lawyer. They don't just own the law firm, they're an employee of it too. They're entrepreneurs. They don't have time to understand half the things I said in the first 2 minutes: markup schema, accessibility, page speed. So we built something that does it all for them, and it's built on 2 of our models. One we like to call domain expertise, and this is why we can create expert-like authoritative content that ChatGPT doesn't. We get highly, highly siloed data. So it's easy to get federal cases. It's hard to get the Miami Broward County cases or the Fort Lauderdale or the Tampa. You can get the docket, the parties, the outcome, the judge, but what you need to train and graph in order to write deep, long-form content is the meat. The judge's opinion, the legal analysis. So what we built is a headless browser with a bunch of site crawlers that can navigate all these different niche legal sites, court searches, journals, to create this rich data set. And when we did it, we saw we were creating that content that was deemed authoritative, expert-like by Google, ChatGPT, Claude, etc. So that's what we call domain expertise. Second, we built a model called competitive blueprinting. We couldn't just guess. That's no better than the traditional agencies that have been doing this for 20 years. So when we featured engineered what makes websites ads go up and down, it was, again, the site speed, accessibility score, and hundreds of other marketing factors. So as we pull that, we created automated syncs on all of your competitors if you're a law firm owner, and that controls the knowledge we pull from our knowledge system and how it's concocted in the context and tone in the content, and what our models predict will be high performing. And from working with 100+ firms now, what started as an experiment, we've seen this is how you can shift and bring legal marketing into a way more modern era that's existed in SaaS marketing and e-commerce marketing, where you can be predictable and not guess, because law firm owners, they're business owners. This is what they dream of. Strong content that actually performs, clear attribution of where their cases are coming from, signing those cases regularly, and doing this on repeat. Not sign up with a marketing agency, get assigned a 23-year-old account manager, God bless them, they're doing their best, but they're just following an SOP that agency created. And as that agency gets more clients, well, your TLC drains. They have 100 accounts, do the math, you're like 8 minutes of their month, whereas our machines only get smarter. So we've been really proud of what we accomplished in the last 2.5 years. We've raised just under $12 million from some amazing groups like Thomson Reuters Ventures, the LegalTech Fund, and now work with more than 100 firms across the US in what started as this fun experiment. Last thing, whenever we do these talks, we always like to share just a few of the features that we engineered. And there's hundreds, but 3 of my current favorites are, 1, how do we create LLM-friendly content? So there's what's called answer-first conversational content. So historically, lawyers have written their own content or thought it needs to be 2,500 words, this long, long content to get ranked. However, the way large language models crawl is a little bit different. So we will create what we call answer first. If you're creating a blog post about how much is my truck accident worth, or how long does divorce in Texas take, and you have a subheading or a subsection of another topic within, the first sentence should answer that question. Whereas we've seen attorneys tend to say historically in the law and blah, 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 just answer the dang question, and that significantly increases the probability that you can get mentioned by ChatGPT, Gemini, AI overviews, etc. Number 2 is offline conversion tracking for ads. It's not random who sees your Google ad if you're bidding on the keyword truck accident lawyer, probate lawyer, whatever it may be. These little things in our pocket, they're creepy trackers. They know everything about us. They know who was probably in a catastrophic injury versus a small fender bender based on search history, motion, all this good stuff that they have on us. So when someone clicks on an ad, what we've learned to do is to pull them from the case management system, their Clio, their FileVine, whatever it may be, and if there's a Google Click ID, we can then start to feed that back to our ad targeting and build lookalike profiles. And anyone can really do this. If you have FirmPilot, you can do it in an automated fashion. But anybody can do this. You can build a lookalike profile to tell your ad campaign, these are my ideal clients. People in this geo, people with this household income, gender, age, everything. And we've seen Google Ads 10x previous ROIs of a human logging in and just clicking buttons twice a month and guessing. Lastly, this is a really cool one, content personalization. So if you ever read Google algorithm research papers, ChatGPT search experience papers, something that's being talked about a lot is how the disparity between any two user search experience is getting farther and farther apart, especially if we're not on the same Wi-Fi. If we search the same two queries or words, our results are getting way more different because it's tending to our experience. Google knows everything about us. What's called our dwell time, how fast or slow do we scroll? Do we click videos? What's called your Flesch-Kincaid readability score, kind of like a grade level scoring of what kind of content you like to read. So we did a test with one of our clients. He gave us access to his Litify, and we saw a lot of his motorcycle cases. They were driving Honda motorcycles. So in all of his motorcycle SEO content, we started mentioning Hondas. And all of a sudden, it wasn't random that his content was being shown to more and more and more people that got into a motorcycle accident and drove a Honda, because Google knows what kind of motorcycle you have. So that's really it. We're FirmPilot. We're not asking for anything much, just people talk about us. If you know a personal injury lawyer, divorce lawyer, probate, estate, anyone who's just trying to grow their business. Thank you.